Good evening. I'm Rohit Sharma and welcome to Desi from DC, coming to you every night from heart of Washington. This is where America's power corridor meet India's prime time to break down the political, economic and global stories that shape both nations live from Washington D.C. From Capitol Hill to Rice on a Hill, we connect the dots between what happens here in Washington and how it echoes back home in India. We begin tonight with the big stories of the day. IMF approves $1.2 billion Pakistan bailout. Trump's rice tariffs target Indian Basmati. India defies sanctions, buys Russian oil. Florida labels Muslim rights group as terrorist. And Indian origin YouTube CEO wins the Time honor. A new Bollywood film, Dhurandhar, is creating waves in India. Masses are praising the acting of Akshay Khanna, who portrayed real-life terrorist Rahman Dakat. But there are few in India who are calling the movie grit and gore, a propaganda movie, a film that one Bollywood writer said was right-wing porn. Yes, those were the words he used. Now, for those who watched the movie and got uncomfortable, I'm going to tell you something that's going to make you more uncomfortable. Apart from Rahman Dakat, there is also Major Iqbal in the film, portrayed by Arjun Rampal, the terrorist who with David Headley plotted the 26/11 Mumbai attacks. He isn't fiction. He is inspired by a very real Pakistani ISI-terror mastermind, Ilyas Kashmiri, a man trained by Pakistan's own military who later became one of America's most wanted terrorists. Ilyas Kashmiri once wore the uniform of Pakistan's Special Services Group, the same unit Islamabad showcases as elite to the world. Then he crossed over from a commando to a jihadist, from Pakistan's pride to Pakistan's deniable asset. He founded Harkat-ul-Jihad al-Islami, a group that fed fighters into Afghanistan, Kashmir, India, and Al-Qaeda's global network. And the US took notice because Kashmiri wasn't just another militant with a gun. He was an architect, a planner, a recruiter, and a connector. Washington accused him of orchestrating some of the most sophisticated cross-border terror operations, including the Mumbai attacks that happened on 26/11. He was linked to attacks on military bases, intelligence facilities, foreign missions, the kind that needed insider knowledge that could only come if he was very well connected to the Pakistani ISI. The kind of knowledge that a former Pakistani commando would have, and with contacts that would run deeper into the Pakistani army. US officials designated him a specially designated global terrorist. They put a $5 million bounty on his head. Intelligence flagged him as a rising Al-Qaeda strategist, someone capable of planning a large-scale international attack. To the US, Ilyas Kashmiri wasn't just dangerous, he was urgent. And this is where the story becomes even more revealing, because the man the US hunted was still operating comfortably inside Pakistan's tribal belt. And on the night of June 3rd, 2011, just weeks after the killing of Osama bin Laden, US drones tracked a meeting in South Waziristan, a compound near Varna. A group of militants had gathered. Obama ordered the drone to be fired. The explosions lit up the hillside. And when the smoke cleared, intelligence team began sifting through the aftermath. Militant groups themselves confirmed it. Ilyas Kashmiri, a treasure of Pakistani ISI, was dead, eliminated in a precision strike ordered by President Obama himself. And this wasn't a symbolic kill. This was Washington cutting off a key link, the bridge between Pakistan's military grooming and Al-Qaeda's global operations. A man trained by state who ended up on America's kill list. Experts said the strike dealt with one of the biggest blows to Al-Qaeda after the death of bin Laden. Kashmiri had the rare combination of training, networks, and battlefield experience. And his death didn't just remove a commander, it shattered an entire operational pipeline which was nurtured by Pakistan. So when you see Major Iqbal on screen, remember this. He's not a dramatic invention of a director or a right-wing propaganda. He's rooted in a very real man, trained, funded, and weaponized in Pakistan, which was, again, a strategy for Pakistan to spread terror across the region. The US killed Ilyas Kashmiri because he was too dangerous to be left alive. But the Pakistani ecosystem that produced him, that unfortunately still continues. And that is the real story that needed to be exposed. Pakistan just got a fresh lifeline from the International Monetary Fund. The IMF has approved $1.2 billion for Islamabad, citing progress on economic reforms and climate resilience. But the road to recovery remains steep. The IMF's executive board unlocked about $1 billion under Pakistan's main bailout facility and another $200 million from a climate-focused program. This brings total IMF receipts to $3.3 billion since last year, as the country battles one of its worst economic crises in decades. Pakistan narrowly avoided default last year, and this bailout approved in 2024 will be released in installments over the next 36 months, but only if Islamabad meets strict conditions. Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif welcomed the decision, praising his government's reform drive and even crediting Army Chief General Asim Munir for supporting the agenda. The IMF noted significant progress. Foreign exchange reserves have climbed to $14.5 billion. Growth is ticking upward and the fiscal position has strengthened. However, the devastating floods pushed inflation higher by spiking food prices. The bailout targets are clear: rebuild reserves, overhaul the tax system, and reform loss-making state companies, especially in the energy sector. IMF's Nigel Clark urged Pakistan to stay disciplined, keep monetary policy tight, and push ahead with the long-delayed reforms. For decades, Pakistan has depended on the IMF loans just to stay afloat. This approval is a vote of confidence, but also a reminder that the real work of economic transformation has only just begun again. While President Trump sanctions Russia, India is buying billions in discounted Russian oil and not backing down. India went from purchasing 2.5% of its oil from Russia before the war to becoming Moscow's second biggest customer, a 70-fold jump. Even after Trump doubled tariffs to punish this trade, India still imported $3.6 billion in Russian crude oil last month. Why? Russia's selling at half the global price. India's message: if Washington buys Russian uranium, New Delhi buys Russian oil. Here's a report to know more.
Picture this. While Washington slaps sanctions on Moscow, New Delhi is quietly filling its tanks with Russian crude. And they are not apologizing for it. India has gone from buying barely 2.5% of its oil from Russia before the Ukraine war to becoming Moscow's second largest oil customer after China. We are talking about a 70-fold increase. That's not an accident. That is a strategy. Here's what Trump doesn't want you to know. Even as he doubled tariffs on Indian goods to 50%, specifically to punish this oil trade, India imported $3.6 billion worth of Russian crude just this January.
Russia provides, sustainably provides energy to India, as well as everything that is required for the development of the Indian energy sector. We will continue to provide all kinds of fuels for the Indian economy. And this is not all. There is a flagship project for the creation of a nuclear power plant in India. Already 2 out of 6 power units are already part of the Indian energy grid. and bringing the remaining 4 online will be a great contribution to strengthening the Indian energy sector, providing to the Indian households clean and accessible energy.
Why? Because Russia is selling at $35 per barrel when global prices hover around $62. That's nearly half price. For an energy-hungry economy of 1.4 billion people, that's not just a good deal, it's billions saved. Trump claims Modi promised to stop buying Russian oil during an October meeting. Putin laughed it off. Literally, he pointed out the hypocrisy. The United States itself still buys nuclear fuel from us, Putin said during his Delhi visit last week. America imported over $1 billion in Russian uranium in 2023 alone.
You know, I never give character assessments about my colleagues, neither those I've worked with in the past, nor current leaders of individual states. These assessments should be made by citizens who vote for their leader during elections. As for India's purchases or purchase of energy resources from Russia, well, I would like to note, and have already mentioned this publicly once, the United States itself still buys nuclear fuel from us for its own nuclear power plants. That is also fuel, uranium for the reactors operating in the United States. If the US has the right to buy our fuel, why shouldn't India have the same privilege? This question deserves thorough examination, and we stand ready to discuss it, including with President Trump.
India's message is clear. If Washington gets to pick and choose which Russian commodities to buy, so does New Delhi. When the US sanctioned Russia's biggest oil giants Rosneft and Lukoil in October, India did not back down. They ramped up purchases before the deadline, securing supply. Then they pivoted to unsanctioned Russian companies and shadow fleets to keep the oil flowing. This is not just about oil, it's about sovereignty. India is signaling it won't be bullied into economic decisions that hurt its national interests. The Kremlin said it plainly. India as a sovereign state will buy energy where it's beneficial for India. Washington's trying to wage economic warfare on Russia, but it needs partners. India's refusal to play along exposes a hard truth. America's sanctions only work when everyone complies. And major powers like India, they are not complying. So while Trump tweets about winning and Modi smiles for diplomatic photos, tankers full of Russian crude keep docking at Indian ports. Because in geopolitics, it's not about what you say in press conferences. It's about what shows up in the ledger. India's betting that cheap oil today is worth American pressure tomorrow. And so far, that bet's paying off. With Debangna Datta, Bureau Report, India Today Global.
President Donald Trump is making waves with his latest tariff threat. And this time it is about something you might eat for dinner: rice. Trump wants he may slap additional tariffs on rice imports from India, but experts say American consumers and not Indian exporters will feel the real sting. At a White House Farm Aid event, Trump accused India, Vietnam, and Thailand of dumping rice into the US markets, claiming it's undercutting American farmers. They shouldn't be dumping, the president declared. You can't do that. But rice industry insiders are pushing back, saying the threat is more bark than bite, for India at least. Here's the catch. India's biggest rice export to America isn't just any rice, it's Basmati, a premium variety that US farmers simply do not grow. And that makes all the difference. During 24-25 financial year, India exported about $337 million worth of Basmati rice to the United States, nearly 274,000 metric tons, making America the fourth largest market for this aromatic grain. The Indian Rice Exporters Federation points out that Basmati's distinct aroma, elongation, and flavor make it irreplaceable in dishes like biryani, a staple for South Asian and Gulf communities across America. Indian rice already faces a 40% tariff after Trump's earlier 50% duty hike, but exporters say the impact has been minimal. Most of the added cost has simply been passed on to American shoppers through higher prices, while Indian farmers and exporters remain largely unaffected. And that's exactly what the experts are warning will happen again. The Indian Rice Exporters Federation estimates that any new tariffs will land squarely on the wallets of American consumers, not India's rice industry.
When it seemed that tensions between India and the US was waning, and after the very recent revamp of the US national security strategy that emphasized on strengthening economic, security, and geopolitical ties with India, President Trump dropped off a possible tariff bombshell. This time, it's India's agriculture sector. This comes after Trump held a meeting with Agriculture Secretary Brooke Rollins, lawmakers from farm states and farmers, where he announced a $12 billion aid package for American farmers. The farmers said that US President should take a harder stand against agricultural imports which were pushing the domestic prices down. CEO of Louisiana-based Kennedy Rice Mill, Merrill Kennedy told Trump that she believed other countries were dumping rice into the United States.
But us in the South are really struggling. I mean, this is not just a crisis. I would say it's almost a market dynamics that really are true anti-competitive nature, right? So it follows what you sent out this weekend. And we do believe that countries are dumping rice into this country today. We've never seen imports this great.
Which countries?
India, Thailand, even China into Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico used to be one of the largest markets for U.S. rice. We haven't shipped rice into Puerto Rico in years.
India, tell me about India. Why is India allowed to do that? They have to pay tariffs. Do they have an exemption on rice?
No, sir. We're still working on their trade deal. So
yeah, but they should be dumping. I mean, I heard that from others. So you can't do that.
There's a WTO case against India
Give me
now.
the countries, if you could. Go ahead. India. Who else?
So India.
Mark it down. What's your skin?
Yes, sir.
India, Thailand, China into Puerto Rico, not into continental U.S., but into Puerto Rico.
All right.
And
so
now
easy to settle.
Rice dumping refers to a practice to sell rice at a very low price to another country, thereby harming the import's country's domestic production. She also mentioned the WTO case against India. As per the case, US and other countries have accused India of selling rice at a higher level than is permissible under the WTO rules. The Indian Rice Exports Federation on the issue of rice dumping noted that exports to the US are strictly demand-driven and shipments are only made against advance purchase orders. According to IREF, India exported 274,213 million tons of Basmati rice worth $337.1 million to the US in financial year 2025. Making America the fourth largest market for Indian Basmati. Non-Basmati shipments stood at 61,341 MT worth $54.6 million, placing the US as the 24th largest market for that category. The tariff war has strained India-US relations. India is already reeling under 50% tariff charge from the US for purchasing Russian oil. Though President Trump has called Prime Minister Modi a good friend and said talks were on regarding trade and tariffs, the new possible tariff could make business with the US tougher. With Mahashweta Lala, Bureau Report, India Today.
Actor Omi Vedya stars in a satirical short about a clash between a MAGA supporter and an Indian H-1B software engineer. It's sharp, funny, and diving straight into America's heated immigration debate.
Hey, you! I know who you supported. Hey, you! Why don't you stop stealing our jobs?
Me? I'm a software engineer. You know C++, Python, Azure.
Speaker English? USA. Okay, we don't tolerate that Taliban talk around here, you know?
Oh, I'm not Middle Eastern. I'm from India.
Same thing. You're all illegals. You know who called dibs on this country first?
Native Americans?
They don't count. After the Indians. We did. The whites. And now you, Indians, are trying to take what we took first.
Sir, you're mistaken. I'm here on H-1B. It's a work visa given by your president.
No. I know who you supported.
Trump.
Trump? You?
Yeah.
Why?
The taxes.
Too high, right?
And the homeless?
You mean the useless? Elon Musk.
Tesla stocks.
Melania, am I right?
I prefer Usha.
Nice. Trad white for life.
You married?
Single for the moment. I mean, who can afford a relationship in this economy? You know?
And the price of meat at Costco.
Inflation. I can barely pay my rent these days.
Yeah. Oh, I'm technically wealthy, but it's never enough.
You know, we couldn't be more different, you and me. Could we?
But we share the same values.
Oh, I love this coffee. Single origin, non-GMO, gluten-free, not that corporate Starbucks crap everybody's shilling.
And they have rewards points.
Glad you like it. Thank you for supporting Black-owned business. Too much soy?
And that wraps up tonight's edition of Desi from DC. This is Rohit Sharma for India Today and India Today Global. And if you're watching this on India Today's Global YouTube channel, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button before you leave. Stay tuned, stay informed, and as always, stay curious. Thank you and goodbye.